Here we have a sad math question. Okay, let's go over the question. The amount of money remaining in a scholarship fund is reduced by 1/4 every year. The amount of money in the fund is represented by D and the number of years by Y. If the fund starts with $10,000, which equation below represents the situation after Y years? Actually, from this information, that is the amount of money is reduced by 1/4 of every year. It's very clear the given situation represents exponential decay. So usually the function which represents the exponential growth or decay is f of x equals to a times b to the power t. So here f of x is the amount of the given stuff at time t. But instead of f of x, we have d in our problem because d represents the amount of money remaining in the scholarship fund in y years. So we can replace this f of x by d, and a is the initial amount of the given stuff in our problem. So the initial the initial value of the amount of money in the scholarship fund is $10,000. So we can plug in 10,000 for A. Okay, times B. So B is the growth or decay factor, but here the amount of money remaining is getting reduced. So B must be decay factor that we have to calculate. And T represents a time. But in our problem, instead of t, we have y, that is in years. So we have to replace this t by y. But before that, we have to find the value of b, that is the decay factor. Okay, for that, let's use the given information. So y represents the number of years and d represents the amount of money remaining in the scholarship fund. When y equals to 0, what does it represent? That is in the beginning. So when y equals to 0, what is the value of d? So when y equals to 0, so d represents the amount of money in the beginning, so that is 10,000. Okay, when y equals to 1, so that is 1 year from the beginning. So after 1 year from the beginning, so what will happen? So this initial value will be reduced by 1/4. So what is the value of 1/4 of this $10,000? Is $2,500. So after 1 year, so the initial value 10,000 will be reduced by $2,500. So after 1 year, the amount of money remaining in the scholarship fund will be $7,500, because when I subtract 2,500 from this 10,000, I'll be getting $7,500. Okay, so here this 7,500 is what fraction of this value? That is decay factor. More clearly, so we have to multiply this 10,000 by some value. So when I multiply this 10,000 by some value, it must be equal to 7,500. So the value by which we multiply this 10,000 to get this 7,500 is called decay factor. Okay, I assume that I multiply $10,000, this 10,000 value, initial value by x, so that I'll be getting the value after 1 year, which is 7,500. So the value by which I multiply 10,000 over here, I mean particularly this value x represents a decay factor. So now our aim is to find the value of this x. Okay, so to find the value of x, I divide both sides by 10,000. So this 10,000, 10,000 will cancel out. Both 7,500 and 10,000 are multiples of 2,500. So 2,500 goes into 7,500 thrice, and 2,500 goes into 10,000 4 times. So I get x equals to 3/4. So the decay factor is 3/4. That is, when I multiply this 10,000 by 3/4, I'll be getting 7,500. That's a value or the amount of money remaining in the fund after 1 year. Okay, in case if I want to get the amount of money remaining in the fund after 2 years from the beginning, so what should I do? It's very simple. I just have to multiply this 7,500 by the decay factor, that is 3/4. So that's it. It's very simple. So now what we need to do is we have to simplify this one to get the value or to get the amount of money remaining in the scholarship fund after 2 years. Anyways, we got the decay factor, that is 3/4. So that's the value of B over here. So we can plug in 3/4 for B. And instead of T, actually T represents time, but instead of T, we have Y in our problem, that is in years. So we can plug in Y at the place of T. So this is the equation represents a given situation. We have this equation, that is D equals to 10,000 times 3/4 to the yth power in option D. So the correct answer choice for this question is option D.